I bought a new FPV drone backpack with my own money. I wanted the best, and that's what I got. Let's go inside and see if it really is. Before revealing what bag this is, I do want to say that I have zero affiliation with said company or any other company that makes drone bags. I bought this with my own money. I get nothing for you buying one or you not buying one. This is 100% honest, 100% real. I'm a drone pilot, I fly for work, and I wanted the best. Let's get into it. As you can tell by the logo on my shoulder, the bag I ended up going with was the Rotor Riot bag version 2. It's completely empty on my back right now, but we're gonna go inside and load it up with all the gear that I use on a daily basis, see if everything fits, talk about my complaints, talk about what I like, and ultimately why I ended up going with this bag. Before we put everything in the bag, we should first talk about what I use on a daily basis. I am a professional pilot that both races drones and flies drones professionally for cinematography for Beverly Hills Aerials, which means I'm in extreme conditions, flying on planes, going on cars, definitely not super gentle with the gear all the time because you never know what to expect when we're flying at all these crazy locations. So that means I needed a bag that I could kind of throw around and still trust it would protect my gear, but of course be as functional as possible. Things that travel with me pretty much everywhere I go are, of course, my radio. I go with the Radio Master TX16S. Definitely the biggest and bulkiest radio available on the market, but also the most premium. 2 pairs of goggles. I, of course, fly all different types of drones, and with racing, I of course use HD0 and sometimes even analog when using tiny whoops, but also for work we use DJI a lot. So I have 2 different goggle cases, one with HD0 that has the analog adapter and the other with DJI, giving me the ability to fly up to 3 different video systems. I need both with me pretty much all the time. Next, of course, is batteries. This is the included Rotor Riot battery, I guess not bag, but box that you can get with the bag, and I ended up going with. It has handles on both the side and the top, which we'll talk about later, but it works really nicely with the bag, and I decided to bundle that alongside it. I was skeptical of how many batteries you could fit inside, but from what I can tell, you can pretty comfortably fit, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4. I would say for my average day racing, I could probably bring 15 batteries with me, which is plenty for a day of practice or a race, really. Next, of course, is chargers. I bring 2 2-port chargers with me everywhere I go. Typically, I would bring one of the 533 4-port chargers, but I'll show you in a second. It unfortunately is just a hair too long to fit vertically in the bag, and if I have to put it sideways, it just takes up way too much room. So since going to this bag, I have changed over to 2 2-port chargers. It's a bit of a bummer. The bag is compact, obviously, and in this case, stacking 2 4-port chargers like this takes up less room than a 4-port charger laid sideways. And of course, everyone needs tools to fix and maintain all their drones, and I did end up buying the Rotor Riot toolkit that they provide as a bundle, but I decided if I was gonna have a toolkit in my bag, I needed to have some extra things, extra cables, maybe zip ties, just some extra room, so I actually moved everything over from the Rotor Riot tool bag into the 533 track pack, and that gave me some extra functionality that I'll show you now. So the track pack opens up in the front pocket, and it has a removable toolkit just like this. Actually, very similar colorway to the Rotor Riot one, but it gives you a lot more extra pockets and functionality. So I have the Rotor Riot tools here, the TS101 that came included, extra pouches for the cables and so forth, extra room for things on the back here, 2 things here, and a ton of pockets on the inside. But that's just the beginning. Then you can open the back pocket, and I have my driver set that was included here. I have extra battery checkers, a soft pouch for my phone and wallet and personalizing things like that. And I just decided that if I was going to be adding something like this to a bag, that it'd be nice to have some extra room, and that's why I decided to transfer everything over to a track pack, and I'm really happy with how it fits in the bag. On to the exciting things, of course, drones. Obviously, depending on the shoot or race, I'll bring different types and amounts of drones, but for an average day of flying or something I would keep on me always, Just a 5-inch quad and a tiny whoop for flying in my various Instagram videos and getting some race practice. As you'll see in a short while, the bag has room for a ton of drones. Probably one of the most functional bags for carrying a large amount of drones. So although this is just for demonstration purposes, it has room to carry a ton. Last but not least, spare props. The bag has some stretchy pockets on the side that most bags do, but these are supposedly made specifically for props. So we're gonna be testing that while packing the bag now to see if I can store as many props as I'd like on the outside of the bag to make sure I don't take up any extra room on the inside. The first thing you notice as I open the bag is that I lay it on the front and open it from the back. But one thing I really want to point out is that typically this is an argument or a point of discussion. Should it open from the front, should it open from the back? I think Rotor Riot solved this in probably the most unique and creative way that I've seen, because the issue with laying the bag on the front is that's typically where your drone would be. But as you'll see, if I put my drone here on the front, just like this, that what they recommend you do is to unzip the front, unfold the front, then lay it down, and then unzip your bag. I think this is absolutely genius. It allows you to keep your quads clean and keep the back of the bag clean, obviously, which is a benefit of opening from the back. I haven't seen this in any other bag, and although this bag is on the more expensive side of the market, these little features make it worth it in my opinion. As we open up the bag, you're gonna see a lot of opportunity for customization. Like most of the bags on the market, this has Velcro walls and a variety of Velcro dividers that you can move around to fit all the gear that you personally have. My situation is a bit unique because I replaced the toolkit with something a little bit larger. I carry 2 chargers, I carry 2 sets of goggles, and a lot of batteries. I figured I'd show you how I put everything in my bag to see if I have any problems or constraints, and maybe it can help you set it up for yourself. I've always been taught to put the heaviest thing in a backpack at the bottom, which for most drone pilots is the batteries. I'm using the Rotor Riot battery case, of course, and it's absolutely designed for the bag, having the handle on the side and the top, so it's going in the bottom of my bag with a divider right in front of it. Up next, we have the tool pouch. It drops right in here above the batteries, and it doesn't take up the entire full width of the bag, leaving room for my camera, which you guys are inside right now, but for the sake of this video, you'll see a slight open compartment that my camera fits in perfectly. I can also probably throw in an extra lens, some other cleaning supplies or something like that. But my tool case goes next, right above my batteries. Next, I had to place both pairs of my goggles in the top left for the added rip and dip functionality. Basically, that allows you to grab your goggles, your batteries, and your radio really fast, and we're gonna test that here at the end of the video. But before I put anything else in the bag, I had to make sure I had a spot for my goggles to go in the top left so they could be accessed quickly from the outside of the bag. One thing to note was that my HD0 goggles will not fit vertically in the bag. It's just a little bit too short. I really could, but it would be squishing on them. So in my case, I removed the side antennas. I also have to remove the analog adapter for them to fit comfortably. But once I do that, they fit in the bag, no problem. Just when I take them out, I have to put the side antennas on, and if I'm using analog, put the analog adapter on there. Not a huge deal, but just something to note. The next compartment over has my chargers, and this is one area in the bag that I'm not 100% happy with yet, because since going to the dual port chargers, there's actually a little bit of room on the top, so I feel like I could fit something extra here. I don't know if that'll be a little cable pouch, because I always have, like, you know, micro cables or micro to C cables or whatever it may be. But I definitely am missing something here, missing some use of the space here. But as you can see, both dual port chargers fit totally fine, plenty of room. Last but not least, I have a relatively big pocket that I left open currently that I'm just throwing my tiny whoop in. But I think my plan is going to be to print a 3D printed tiny whoop holder. I know that there's some by a guy named Noah and the Tiny Whoop crew. And I think it'd be really cool if I could have 2 or 3 tiny whoops that go into a tray that slide perfectly in here. Definitely will update you guys when that happens, but for right now, I'm just throwing my tiny whoop and any miscellaneous items in there. And of course, in the other empty spot is going to be where my camera goes. As I zip this up, one thing that you guys are probably wondering is, well, I didn't see your radio going in there. And that goes into probably one of my more favorite features on this bag, which is the top radio shroud or compartment, we'll call it. This area up here is a hard case compartment that's dedicated just to your radio. And again, I told you I used the TX16, which is the biggest radio pretty much on the market. and it fits no problem. I'm not worried about it being safe or getting damaged because of this hard case. It seems to hold it really nicely, and it keeps it also very quickly accessible, which you'll see in just a second. And I really enjoy that. As promised, we are going to see if we can fit props in the side compartment here. So I think what Rotor Riot promises is 5 sets on both sides. So this is 4, 5, and we're just gonna pull this open. As you can see, it's stretchier than most, and it looks like you can fit 5 in there, no problem. So I guess if you do 5 here and 5 on the other side, then you could have 10 sets of props ready to go for the day. It obviously does make it a little bit wider, and maybe I'll start putting props on the inside, at least a few sets. But if you're going out for a big long day of flying, you need a lot of props, you can obviously fit a bunch here. As we go back outside with a fully loaded bag, I wanted to show off probably the biggest selling point of this bag, known as the rip and dip feature. The idea is that you should be able to show up to any spot or any track and be flying as fast as possible without even opening the bag all the way. Things you need to fly are your radio, your batteries, your goggles, and your drone. So I'm gonna come up to this table, pretend like I just showed up to a spot, and you will see just how fast you can get in the air and how I don't even have to open the bag to do it. Is everything I need to fly, no having to open the bag, no having to fumble through any of the miscellaneous stuff in my bag, all right at your fingertips. I think that is so nice. There's so many times when we're in a crazy location and we just have to get out and fly. And I think the fact that Rotor Riot was able to implement this in such a nice way with the battery bag, with the top compartment for your radio to be easily accessible, and then also for the spot to easily pull out your goggles, it's awesome, and I think that alone makes it worth it to me. This bag certainly isn't for everyone. The version that I ended up going with, which came with a soldering iron and a tool kit and the battery case and the battery, came to about $350, is certainly expensive, but for me and for a lot of other people, I think that's worth it. At the end of the day, we have expensive equipment that we're trying to protect, and for those who are flying a lot, you're also using it. Taking it in and out puts wear and tear on your gear, so you might as well invest in protecting it. There are certainly cheaper options out there, and I think you can even get the Rotor Riot bag for around $200 without any of those extra add-ons if you have your own toolkit and battery case already. But this one ended up being perfect for me. I'm really happy with it, and I can't wait to use it. Maybe I'll do an updated video after a few months of use to let you guys know how I've enjoyed it over the course of a few months of work. But first impressions are great. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you get one, let me know how you like it. See ya. Bye. One last thing, if you do want to purchase one of these bags, I do have links in the description. I personally don't have any affiliate links with Rotor Riot, which is totally fine, but I have copied over Joshua Bardwell's affiliate links to benefit him. He's a local creator and friend, so I'd be happy to support him. For someone who makes so much great content for all of us people in FPV. There's also a link to his review and any of the other products you saw in the video below. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you around. Bye.